All right, Ziggy. Another Sunday comes and goes here. Week 6 of the NFL season. The Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. It looked like it was going to be a thriller at one point. About like at halftime, I was expecting a really exciting finish to this one, but the Chiefs wind up pulling ahead, and they ultimately finish off the Lions 30-17 on Sunday Night Football. Uh, Detroit falls to 4-2 now. The NFC North gets a little bit tighter. Vikings 3-2, Packers 3-1-1. The Bears tomorrow night against Washington. It's opens up a little bit in your eyes.
Yeah, I mean now the Packers technically have the divisional lead.
Oh, okay,
Um,
there we go. So they do have the
it
division
does.
lead.
It does. I don't think it means very much when the number of games isn't the same. But theoretically, if you were to go to NFL.com and look at the ranks, the Packers will be ahead.
Okay, so there we go. So right before we start this episode, I'm like, I think the Packers aren't first now. So he's like, Paul, that's not how it works. You don't just jump up because of
Well,
the
no, I
bye.
mean, I just mean when they don't haven't played the same number of games and there's like a tie in it, I don't really care.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The tie makes everything a little bit weirder, but the Packers aren't first now in the NFC North. But we're gonna stick. This is a Lions Chiefs reaction here. So 30-17 is the final, and it's funny if you looked at the box score, right, and you saw Jared Goff was 23 for 29, you would probably walk away being like, all right, like the Lions probably won this football game. He's 6 incompletions the whole night, and I think he's had like what is it? Goff's had like 10 incompletions the last 2 games combined or something. Like Jared Goff played a really good football game. It ultimately just came down to, right, what did we say in our preview? What's going to happen on fourth downs? And if you look at the very beginning of the game here, that first drive for the Lions, unbelievable drive. They march right down the field in 15 plays, but they get stalled out at the one and wind up kicking a field goal there. And then Amon-Ra has the big drop in the first half as well, the turnover on downs. And not that I don't want to say that doomed Detroit because they were still winning the game, but that was an opportunity for them to really seize control early, and they gave Kansas City some extra life there. So what was your early takeaway from this loss for Detroit?
My takeaway from this loss is that it's very difficult to beat good NFL teams when your entire secondary is out.
Yes, that is
Right,
the
like it's
the next thing.
we've had a lot of Packers fans come on here and say just wait until the Packers get healthy, they're going to totally crush the Lions in November. I think one thing to keep in mind is the Lions are dealing with injuries up and down. And even guys like Kirby Joseph that like theoretically were healthy and played this game. I mean, Patrick Mahomes targeted Kirby Joseph
Yeah.
every single play he could because Joseph was nowhere near 100%, which is not something you see. Usually quarterbacks are terrified to throw his way. So, like, are the Lions pretenders? No. Am I still confident they're a very strong team? Yes. Was this a bad spot to draw Kansas City with your secondary out and the Chiefs starting to find their passing game? Yes.
Detroit, if you're a Lions fan, you have to be sitting back right now looking at the injuries starting to pile up, going, this can't happen again, right? The offense I thought was really good most of the night. I'm just looking at their drive chart right now. They had a couple punts to bookend the end of the second quarter and the beginning of the third. But I thought they were moving the ball pretty well. Again, they had the turnover on downs. Um, but you got to be thinking like, man, we're missing DJ Reed, we're missing Terry and Arnold now. Khalil Dorsey was out. There's just comes a point where it's hard to stop, the best teams in the league, and I do think the Chiefs and you as well think the Chiefs are one of the better teams in the league. But when you're missing that many guys, and I see some people in the comment section will say like that's excuses. I mean, it is a real excuse though. If you're missing most of your secondary and Kirby Joseph's limping around, that that's really impactful, especially in these games against the top contenders. So it's just something that we're going to have to monitor as we move forward. But Detroit's next week they had the Bucks, and we'll see who's playing for Tampa at wide receiver. But Baker's been on fire. Baker might be the MVP at this point in the year, and you just don't want to see it turn into a situation like last year where you can score 1 million points a game, but you're losing games because you're giving up 1 million.
Yeah, I mean, I would not want to, especially if I don't know what the status on Mike Evans or Emeka Egbuka is, whether they'd be healthy next week. But if either of those guys are playing, those are not the matchups I want trotting out a deeply injured secondary, right? With Baker Mayfield throwing the ball.
No, not with the way Baker's been throwing it so far this year. Absolutely not. You're waiting for some other guys to get back as well on the D line for Detroit. But I thought I thought throughout the night though that was very clear. And once Mahomes had it going, I mean, dude, I'm sorry. I think the Chiefs. We're talking about power rankings and what we might do later this week. It's a tough year. It's really it's a tough week in particular for power rankings because you said what Tampa's going to be probably at the top of most people's. But do people in the chat here really think that the Bucks are the best team in football? I mean, they might have the
No,
best
I mean,
record.
people are sitting back here saying that like the Lions haven't beaten anyone. They've lost to the two good teams they've faced. The Bucks have beat the Falcons by 3, the Texans by 1, the Jets by 2, the Seahawks by 3, and the like ever injured 49ers by a score and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if we put them up there at 1, I think that's more a reflection of quote unquote record rankings and actual power rankings. Like look, I'm probably going to have the Chiefs pretty high up there. But coming into this game, everyone was picking Detroit. Basically everyone you saw was going with the Lions if you weren't Nick Wright, right? The guy if you weren't Nick Wright, you were taking the Lions to win this football game, it seemed. And that was a championship type of response from Kansas City in this game. In the second half, they really did take control. The Lions' offense has been unstoppable, and they held them to the 1 touchdown in the second half, and otherwise shut them down. I mean, 7 plays punt, 3 plays punt, 4 play turnover on downs outside of the 1 touchdown drive to start the fourth quarter for Detroit. That's really hard to do. This Lions team comes at you in a lot of different ways, and Jahmyr Gibbs never got going tonight. 17 carries for 65 yards. And I think like 53 of them came in the first quarter. A lot of them came early for Gibbs, and they took him out of the game. You just never felt, while Detroit's offense, I didn't think they played poorly. They never felt like they found their rhythm the way that they usually do in these games when they start wearing people down and taking control.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs' run defense it's been their weakness on defense all year.
Yeah.
They had a much better game. And if you look at how they've been talking about it, their main coaching all year, right? Ever since week 1, when like they absolutely got gashed running wise. Chris Jones talked about this, right? People said, why were you standing around on that play? And he said, we've been drilling week in, week out, staying disciplined in our run zones. And people wonder, like, what does that mean? Why are they talking about this? That comes in handy when you have to face a player like Jahmyr Gibbs, because often how the Lions punish people is like somebody gets out of position, and Jahmyr Gibbs has such incredible vision and such incredible agility. Like if you take 1 wrong steps, defensive lineman, he could bust off a 30-yard run.
Mm-hmm.
And the Chiefs did a really good job. His longest run tonight was 15 yards. And as you said, he averaged under 4 yards a carry, which is very low. Even like you look at the passing game, I mean, Jamison Williams was the highest producer. He had that really long running touchdown. Sam Laporta had that really excellent touchdown. But again, the consistency in the passing game, you can look at Goff's completion percentage all you want. The consistency in gaining yards just wasn't there, right? The Packers defense did an excellent job getting pressure on Goff, which is hard. Chris Jones made some really important plays. The offense was not terrible. I think the defense is much more to blame for why they lost this game. But there are plenty of times you saw it last year where the Lions offense in a similar kind of game would have put up 34 to the Chiefs 30. This game, it just didn't happen.
Yeah, and there were a couple play calling situations as well in this one where I was just questioning what Detroit was doing a few times where they just kept throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. And I wanted them to push it downfield and be more aggressive. But yeah, ultimately, I think it comes down on the defense as well, where they stopped Kansas City twice the entire game, basically, from scoring points. And it's hard to rely that. I mean, the Lions' offense is one of the few in the league that you can turn to them if you're having a tough defensive night and say you got to match them. But Arrowhead's a tough place to play when that stadium gets going. It's not easy to put up 50 like Detroit does, seemingly does week in and week out. And they just had they had an off night. I'm not worried about this team at all. I mean, I'm worried about them, I guess, as a Viking fan because I still think they're really good. But I like this in the chat right now. We're seeing a lot of the Packers and Lions fans go at it. Like this is gonna be a fun NFC North race here, and that Lions schedule really is brutal. Thanksgiving game is going to be one to circle. I mean, we obviously have it circled already, but when they go at it again, we could be talking about the Super Bowl representative coming out of the NFC North. And getting home field advantage in the playoff is going to just be absolutely massive. I'm looking forward um, to that there.
Oh, I mean, it's certainly going to be good, and I think the Lions will be healthier by then. This Bucks game is really the game they have to survive. Because, like, I know we've got Merle in the chat, and Merle's not going to want to hear this, but I don't think that Minnesota has a prayer going into Detroit. Like, I don't think that's going to happen for us. So if they can make it through that Bucks game, the next real threatening game is when they go to play the Commanders November 9th. And that month is a lot of time for players to get healthy, for coaching to get fixed. They just, if I'm Dan Campbell, what I'm telling the team is this loss sucked. Going to Kansas City sucked. But Tampa Bay is coming into our building next week. And if we can show what the Lions usually do, toughness, grit, play physical football, and just beat them, get through that game, things will be just fine for this Detroit team.
Well, what the Lions have the opportunity to do as well is play all of the contenders for the 1 seed. They play Tampa, they play the Rams, they play the Packers again coming up later this year. They play Philadelphia, they play Washington, right? And any team that you say, hey, are you a contender in the NFC, whether or not you think they're a serious threat or not, Detroit's going to have them on the schedule this year, and you're going to have the opportunity to win that tiebreaker and gain the massive head-to-head advantage that would lead the playoffs through Ford Field. So I disagree with. Look, I'm a big fan of everyone in all the Packers fans being excited and talking some trash, but I do think you need to acknowledge this is a good Lions team. I'm surprised. Maybe I may have got a little too caught up in how much Detroit was beating up on the teams they've recently played to overlook some of the injuries that this defense has because they are. I mean, they were massive, and going into Kansas City, this was a spot that Kansas City really needed to win to avoid going 2-4. So when the Chiefs had their backs against the wall, I do. They normally play their best football when they have to, and they did tonight. They looked really good. So maybe that was on me for not realizing that and picking the Chiefs to win this football game. But I think Detroit will be just fine. And it's gonna be like the Packers fans got to realize it's gonna be a close competition. I see a lot of people saying it won't be close. It's gonna be a close one.
Probably. I mean, it would help if I'll tell you this: when the Packers play the Lions, the refs will not call zero penalties on the Packers.
Well,
The Chiefs did
come
not
on.
get a penalty tonight.
Well, there were a couple. Look, I didn't like that call in the beginning of the game. I know it's a rule. I thought the Montgomery throw to Goff was awesome. I thought that was just so fun. Like I love watching the Lions play football. And I guess that was though like by the rule book a penalty. But it's just can you believe they threw it out to Goff?
No, in the way, well, I mean,
It's
the Goff
absurd.
stumble and catch. I didn't know that. I know it wasn't a review; it was a conference for whether or not Goff got set. A touchdown there completely changes the game.
It does. I think Kansas City was the better team tonight. I know Lions fans were upset about the no penalties, and I didn't think Kelce caught that ball. I can't remember what. I think it was in the third quarter. I can't remember right now, but you know the play I'm talking about. Um, but look, after a week where Kansas City had 13 penalties, you got to give them credit too. They did clean it up for sure. And you heard
No, it's
Collinsworth.
I'm
Yeah,
not sitting back here saying that there's a like conspiracy or whatever. I will say this one thing I'm keeping an eye on. Like Brian Branch started a fight at the end of this Lions Chiefs game. I don't know if you saw
yeah, I
that or you
saw
were
that.
busy
Yeah.
setting up. There's a real chance I think that he's suspended next week.
Are you starting rumors, Ziggy?
Am I started what
Are
what rumor
are
am
you
I starting?
speculating or like I what did he throw a
It would
punch?
be
Like
in a
what?
line with how the NFL. So like we don't know, right? The NFL has obviously hasn't announced anything. It's happened like 10 minutes ago. It would be perfectly in line of how the NFL usually handles this stuff for him to get a 1 game suspension for this.
That would be
And that would
massive
be devastating
if
to
it
this
was next
Detroit
week.
team, right? You can't. When we talk about how this team needs to respond to a loss like this, it can't be by picking a fight with Kansas City, whether or not he's suspended. Like they clearly are in need of a mental reset.
The Detroit? I think they're fine. They went into Kansas City and lost a Sunday night
No,
football game.
again, I'm not saying this guy is falling or whatever. I'm saying like their attitude can't be that.
Yeah, and that's the Lions are one of the teams in football I'm least worried about having a loss snowball into something more. But next week's a great opportunity to come back and you know shut anyone up who's talking smack because you're playing Tampa at home. And this is a Tampa team too that beat you, right? If there's one team that's kind of been able to go head to head with Detroit and be on equal footing with them over the past couple of years, it is the Bucks, right? That playoff game was really close. Then they went in and beat them last year. If you're a Tampa fan, you're probably going like, "Hey, can we get these guys?" Well, wait, they did play again in Tampa, right? And that's when Montgomery got hurt. I think that was that might have been 2023.
I think that was 23.
Yeah, yeah. I
Do
think
you think it's possible that the NFL investigation of Brian Branch takes long enough that they have to suspend him for week 9?
against the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm just saying if the investigation takes a little bit longer, I wouldn't mind that.
I mean, I wouldn't. I have no problem with trying to get delayed a little bit if we can somehow. If we could find some sort of poll within the front offices to make that happen. I think Brian Branch is unbelievable. I love watching him play football. He just flies all over the place. Hutchinson, I thought looked good tonight too. He got after Mahomes a few times.
This was Aiden Hutchinson he continues to get better the more he's in there. And like punching that ball out, forcing holds left and right, whether or not they're called. I mean, the roughing the passer penalty was disastrous.
That was bad. That was really bad.
And I'll say that was not a roughing penalty where it's like, I don't see how it was called. It's like he took 3 steps after Mahomes hit the ball and shoved it.
No,
whether you like it or not, that's going to get called on almost any quarterback, almost any time.
There are a lot of plays tonight that the Lions usually make in these big games, right? Think back to the Ravens game. I thought there was an unbelievable play when they had the ball snapped to Amon-Ra and he pitched it to Gibbs on 4th down from the goal line. How many 4th down conversions, massive ones they had in that game? The Goff pass to Amon-Ra to win the game, and then tonight, a lot of similar situations. It kind of felt eerily similar, but you had the Goff touchdown pass ruled back on the first drive. Amon-Ra did drop that football. They had the big pass interference penalty, and on the Chiefs, believe there was a Chiefs opening touchdown drive. Detroit just had a lot, and they didn't recover the fumble. Right? I don't know how Mahomes recovers all these fumbles whenever he lets go of the football. It bounces back to him somehow. But they just didn't bounce Detroit's way tonight. And when you're playing against the Chiefs in Kansas City, you need things to go your way, and they really didn't. I thought Kelce too brought it tonight. The most he has all season. He finished the night with 78 yards, but had a lot of really important 3rd down catches, it seemed. Had that one crazy one when they were backed up in their own territory. They bobbled all over the place, but kept the drive going. And Mahomes has to stop taking these hits. I know you were talking about Collinsworth going crazy about it on the broadcast, but if I were a Chiefs fan, he's been lowering the shoulder way too much this year to me. You have to know how valuable you are, and when you're getting popped the way Mahomes has, eventually that could be a shoulder injury.
Every player in the NFL would love to be the guy who knocks out Patrick Mahomes for the rest of the game.
Dude, guys are flying at him, and there's the one play where he got hit 3 times, and it's like, dude, just slide. like you're worth the drive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I totally get it. Like, look, I believe on that play though, he actually needed that run. It was like a 3rd down, and they needed a 1st. So I mean, it's always contextual, but I mean, I think back. Remember how? Well, set aside that like there was the crazy it didn't actually end up bothering the Chiefs too much, but I think back to that like QB sneak where he had to miss a bunch of games because his kneecap got popped.
Yeah.
So now the Chiefs don't run QB sneaks anymore. Like I've never seen an organization react that way. They know what they have in him, and I have to imagine Andy Reid is telling him like, dude.
But tonight there were several shots, and it's been all year when you're watching the Chiefs. Tonight though, there were a couple where you see him start to scramble. And I think it was Brian Branch lit him up, and then I can't remember who the other one was. But these guys are, they know that he's not thinking about sliding, so they're coming in with their head on fire, and I'd just be nervous. I know he's the leading rusher on the team coming into tonight. I think he still is because Pacheco had 51 yards and Mahomes had 32 on the ground. But yeah, he had 10 carries, and like I know he's a great scrambler, but just be a little bit careful if you're Patrick there. That's scary stuff for a franchise quarterback. I mean, the best player in the league. Okay, we have a couple super chats, right? Ranger says, thought it was dirty Kirby, not dirty Branch. Ugly but necessary win by the Packers. Lions suck by Ryu Hitsuya. It might turn nasty in these comment sections over the next few months, Ziggy. Now that some Lions fans are starting to pop up, and where are some Vikings fans? Can we get a couple Vikings fans in here?
Yeah, I mean, there's of course a Merle OG goat, but we got to get more in here.
Jorge
Unfortunately, the
Martinez.
Vikings are not good enough to actually make that happen.
I hope. Yeah, I'm holding out hope that JJ has a great game against Philadelphia, but that's just me being. That's just me trying to be optimistic.
Maybe JJ will be settled in by the time we go to Detroit.
Yeah, geez, okay. Jorge
I'm
Martinez says, I might be biased, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Detroit has been outplayed and out physicaled against the only two good teams that they've played. So they're
it's difficult for me, given what we know about the history of this Lions team, to sit back and think anytime they play a good team, they're just going to get out physical.
no, that's crazy to say. In week one, the Packers absolutely out physicaled them. It's in particular in the second half. But Detroit. I know that the Ravens have a bad record right now, and that the defense is really hurt. But when they played Baltimore in Baltimore, I thought that was a great display of the Lions being the Lions, and that Lamar was healthy for that game. The Ravens, when Lamar plays, are a top 10 team in the league. I don't care what anyone says, and like that's a great win. That's just a great win. We can look back on week one and say the Packers dominated, yes, but the Lions have been a really good team this year. We can't take that away. Demai says Lions are overrated. The win people say is good as Baltimore, who sucks. We need to take that into account. Yes, they are hurt, but as of now, they don't have a win over a good team. They are good, not great right now. Well, I mean, we could play it. We could play it both ways here with Packers fans. If you guys don't think Detroit's good, then where's the Packers' good win? Because Washington. Do you think Washington's good? Maybe.
I mean, it's at this point in the season,
It's
right?
too
People
early.
like to play. Yeah, it's too early to know who's ultimately going to be good and who's not, because the Lions, I mean, by this metric, the Lions have played. A lot of people before this game said the Chiefs sucked, right?
Hmm.
So the Lions have played one good team week one and they lost. Like, you just don't know until you're looking at the body of the season. It was easy last year to say the NFC North has three of the five best teams in the NFC. And it turns out when the playoff time came, not that playoff games mean everything, but the NFC feasted against some weaker teams that looked stronger at the start of the season and then faded down the stretch.
Yeah.
You just don't know at this point in the year. But what we do know is the Lions have a track record of playing well against good teams.
This really is just an unbelievable season, though, as far as parity in the league and what our number one team. I know that our joint power rankings have kind of been controversial lately. They've been a lot of fun, but we've now had our number one team lose 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and it's just if you're doing power, like in the chat, let me know, who are you putting number one in your power rankings right now? Are you putting Tampa Bay? Is Buffalo back in there if they win tomorrow night? It's weird. Like I'm tempted to put Kansas City at number one, and I know people will be really mad about that, but it's a weird season so far. We're kind of waiting to see who's that team that's going to break out and really start having one of those special years. And it could be Tampa, but I don't think anyone, even if Tampa's like 10-1 with the way they're winning games, I don't think anyone's looking at that team the way they looked at the Eagles or the Lions last year, or even Buffalo or the Ravens 2 years ago. I'm not getting that feeling for anyone. Is there anyone that you're close with on that feeling?
And thinking like,
And the no is an acceptable answer.
I really think Buffalo is that team.
Okay.
I know that they lost to the Patriots, but I think we've seen over the course of the season, this Patriots team is actually not bad at all.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that wasn't a great loss. I am confident that Buffalo is, in fact, that team. Anyone else? No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Here's what's
Buffalo
going to
would probably
happen.
be
I'm
the
going to
best
say
choice.
Buffalo's that team. They're going to go to Atlanta and lose tomorrow.
Yeah, no. Then things become very confusing, because I think Buffalo also, you're allowed to lose a football game, and the Patriots are playing well right now. Drake May has just been he's going to be really fun to watch throughout this year, especially as New England will build up a lot of hype because they're going to feast on their schedule too. I'm not sure how much I really believe in the team yet, but as they continue to win, and Drake May is going to have really good performances against weak teams, that's going to be one there where, like, week 10, week 11, 12 roll around. to be like, oh, I'm jacked up to watch this Patriots game.
Yeah. I mean, it's with the Patriots winning that Bills game. The Bills do not have a guarantee to win their division. The Patriots' schedule is very weak.
No, it
And
is.
they now have a win over Buffalo in Buffalo.
Yeah,
Right? They still get to play the Jets twice. They get to play the Titans, the Browns, the Falcons. I don't think the Giants are legit, and that's in December. By that point, Jackson Dart's going to be on IR for the rest of the year. They still get to play Cincinnati. The Patriots might win this division.
Demise wants to clarify, and I'm sorry if I misstated you. I never said they weren't good. They are good, referring to the Lions, but until we see them healthy and beat a good team, we can't call them great. They are good, not great yet. I think that's fair. I think it's fair if people say the Lions are good, not great.
I mean, we don't know if
yeah.
any of these teams are going to be great. You
There
can win a Super Bowl and not be great. Ask the New York Giants. They did it twice.
Kyle asked, how does this Chiefs win over the Lions compare to the Packers win over the Lions?
I think that's my guess is Kyle is trying to rub it in. But I'll say this, like, I don't think this was a game. The Packers game made me worry about Detroit as a team. Like, are they going to be able to handle this year? Are the, like, adjustments, all the changes in coordinators, is that going to be a problem? This game, I know this is sort of a deflating thing to say.
Yeah.
This game, I looked at it and thought the injuries are why it wasn't close. The Lions are usually better. I have no worries about them losing an Arrowhead.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. And if they played that game 10 times, I think the Chiefs probably win 6 of them. Like, I still think the Chiefs are going to win that game more often than not in that building. But the Lions are absolutely depleted back there. I love that we have a Lions fan, Burn, in the comment section right now, who's just been going at it. I haven't read everything, but
we appreciate you, Burn, for sticking up for your team.
Yeah, and he goes, but I love this comment. He says, real talk with the Packers fans, I'm just glad I get to throw down with you legitimately instead of how it used to be. And how it used to be for Lions fans was just miserable. I do think as well, my sister walked in the room while I was watching the game, and she's like, are the Lions losing? I said, yeah. She's like, good. It's like, okay, like, why so much hostility toward Detroit? You know, my sister's a Viking. She roots for the Vikings, but she doesn't really follow too much of what's going on. But she knows the Packers are the enemy. And she's like, I just, had enough of the Lions fans last year. They were, I think one of her friends, a big Lions fan. She's like, they just got really, really cocky out of nowhere. It's like, let them have their fun. I mean, this is the first time the Lions have been good in 30 years. So, like, it's a good point by Burn there. And they travel well, too. The Detroit crowd, whenever you see them playing these games, there's a lot of light blue. It's Honolulu blue, I'm sorry, in the stands. They got a great fan base. It's one thing in the NFC North that I think is awesome is you have 4 super dedicated fan bases. And hopefully we have some pretty close games here as the year goes on and this division can be competitive.
I do have to say one thing. Demai says Dan Campbell was on the Bounty Gate staff. This is just untrue. Dan Campbell was on IR the entire year and didn't play a single snap for the Saints.
I still can't believe.
I know, Paul. Paul, I know you are the #1 Bounty Gate hater in the history of football, which is really silly because the Vikings had a bounty program at exactly the same time. But
did we?
Dan Campbell was not involved. Oh, yeah, the Vikings have had bounty programs before.
What?
Yeah,
the 2009
when Brett Favre was quarterback, we had a bounty program.
What was that?
What do you mean? What was that?
How have I never heard of this? I don't
know why you haven't heard of this. Artis Hicks explicitly said that we had a bounty culture during that playoff run.
And that
Nick
Artis
Barnett
Hicks?
got taken out during for a bounty.
Who is Artis Hicks?
He was one of our offensive linemen that year.
What are we talking about?
Do you remember the Nick Barnett injury?
The Packers player?
Yeah. The Packers linebacker. There's a bounty on him.
Now a player who's on the Vikings team saying Minnesota ran a similar bounty. It was part of the culture, Hicks said in a book excerpt published by Deadspin. I had coaches start a pot and all the veterans put an extra 100, 200. If you hurt someone special, you get. All right. Look, if Artis Hicks, I'm not seeing anything else. Hicks
Most
denies saying
NFL
Viking.
teams have had bounty programs at some point during their history. That's all
Okay,
I
now
want.
now I'm seeing Artis Hicks denies saying team had bounty program. Stop this, Ziggy.
He
This is
wrote the
lunacy.
book.
This is I look. I never told him any specifics. I never named names. It says Artis Hicks.
Yeah, I don't believe him for a second.
All right. Well, we're not. Look, the Saints we know had a bounty program, and it's beyond my mind that we then made, while suspended, we made Sean Payton into some Disney hero in a movie played by Kevin James about how he saved his son's football team or whatever.
I'm not talking about the movie. I don't
No,
care
no, no.
about
But that
the
like
movie.
it's insane to me. Well, no.
Basically, all I'm saying is basically every NFL program has had a bounty program during the 2000s.
I don't know enough.
This is common NFL behavior.
Sure. I don't know enough to support or deny that. All I know is the Saints did it against my team in the NFC Championship game and prevented us from winning a Super Bowl, and we had the best team. And then they made Sean Payton into a Disney movie hero played by Kevin James, while never mentioning the fact in the movie that he was suspended for paying players to hurt other players. That's insane to me. Maybe but we should make a sequel, and we dive into actually what was going on, because I just can't take it. I can't take it. Paul ranked the NFC North right now. I would still rank it Lions 1, Packers 2. Oof.
Unfortunately, Paul, you know what to say.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy's back. We know where we are.
I mean, we did beat Chicago with JJ. Like, we did win that game. I would probably... I think I'd go Vikings Bears. I think it's very close. I think there's a clear gap in between Lions, Packers, to then Vikings, Bears. Like, there's a gap between the two teams, or the groups of two. But I think it's very close between Green Bay and Detroit and Minnesota and Chicago. You could flip that either way. Green Bay just needs to be consistent. Whenever I watch them play, I haven't got that feeling of like, oh, this is a really good team since the Thursday night football game against the Commanders. Like, when I'm watching them today against Cincinnati, I was thinking this is a very average football team. Like above, maybe slightly, they're an above average football team.
Yeah, I mean, they won the game.
Yeah, they won the game, and they were in control that entire game. But I haven't looked at Green Bay the same, or even close to the same, since the Commander game. And that's, look, we've said this, that's part of the season. You have these ups and downs, and Green Bay just happened to have a really high up very early. They need to recapture that. And coming out of the bye, getting a win, getting that winning feeling back in the locker room is going to be important to them. I love watching the Packers lose. I love it. I love watching the Lions lose when they're this good now. I love it. But I think these are two really good teams that are going to win a lot of games this year.
Yeah, and I think, unfortunately, even a huge Vikings homer has to admit that they're better than us.
The Packers and Lions?
Yeah, like they are.
Yeah,
better
I'd be
than us.
crazy.
I mean, I was talking with my roommate about this, and he's like, "You're a Vikings fan. Why are you rooting for the Lions to win this game?" And I'm like, "Look, I've sort of given up on the Vikings winning the NFC North. We can compete for a wild card spot, maybe if things break away, but we're not winning the division. I wanted to see the Chiefs have their season blown up so badly."
That's what's funny to me.
Like, I wanted Detroit. I'll just be honest. I wanted Detroit to go in. I don't care if they're a divisional rival, and stomp Kansas City into the ground.
It's
because I'm so tired of watching the Kansas City Chiefs win football games.
Yeah,
I'm sick of it.
There's a lot of people I know who feel that way about the Chiefs. They felt that way about the Patriots. Let me know in the comment section if you guys agree or not. As an NFC fan, right? A fan of an NFC team, I always viewed the Patriots and I view the Chiefs as a great ally to the Vikings now, because they just go and they beat up all the teams that I hate in the Super Bowl. And I'm really, really annoyed that the Eagles of all teams were the team that, has gotten the best of the Patriots in 2017, and they got the best of the Kansas City last year. But I view them as the team, to me, that takes care of the business that the Vikings can't take care of. So I like Kansas City, and I liked Brady. But maybe that's just me.
Well, you're insane. Like, you're an insane person. You root for the dynasty. No wonder you work with Nick Wright.
I root for I don't care about the dynasty. I don't care about the Chiefs fans and Patriots fans being happy. I don't want, I really hated seeing Philadelphia win last year. I hated it. I'd root for any AFC team. I don't care who it is. Jack's a big Steeler fan, our co-host. I'd rather see the Steelers win than the Eagles. Like, I don't
I'm
like
not
these
sure. I might
teams.
have to quit the show if the Steelers win a Super Bowl. I'm not sure I could take it for a whole off season with Jack.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like, someone here says, hate watching the Chiefs win too, but better than the Lions. Like, when it comes down to these big games that I know that the Vikings will either lose or not be in, it's nice to have that backup. Like, oh, well, at least we could call Brady in relief. At least we got Mahomes in relief here. So I like these teams. I enjoy and it actually makes it fun too, because there's definitely a degree of hatred towards dynasties. And I had a big hatred towards the Warriors dynasty. I couldn't stand them. I didn't like that super team. I didn't like the Heat super team with LeBron in the NBA either. But in football, I've been kind of lucky to to have the super teams usually beat up on the teams I don't like. So you get a little bit of an appreciation for it as opposed to being annoyed the whole time.
Okay, well, there's some revisionist history going on in our chat right now that we need to address.
What?
Packers fans are outraged that we're saying the Packers struggled against the Bengals and didn't blow them out. Like, I don't know what game the game happened today, folks. Like, I'm sorry, the Packers, I'm not going to say they struggled and like barely won. The Packers were one Matthew Golden 3rd and 9 conversion away from probably losing this game.
Yeah, well, hold on. We may have to separate completely what they're saying, what you're saying, and what I'm saying. They're saying that what is the chat saying?
The chat is saying that like they won this game comfortably and convincingly. That is not how I felt watching this game at all.
I don't think the Packers won comfortably and convincingly. I also don't think that they were a Matthew Golden drop away from losing the game.
I'll tell you this straight up. If Matthew Golden, I mean, we said this during our reaction show. If Matthew Golden on that 3rd and 9 doesn't get it, I would say this. I know you wouldn't say this. I don't think that Green Bay wins that game.
Yeah, I think they would get the stop. But that's where I think
defense that couldn't get a stop the whole second half.
As with most things, I think that the middle ground between you and the chat right now is probably the correct answer. Green Bay was in control for most of that game. You were never too worried, but they let Cincinnati hang around, and there was a world where the Bengals had a chance to win the game at the end. I don't think it would have happened. It could have. It's a game that the Packers probably should have won by a lot more. You wanted them to win by a lot more. But they didn't, and the defense gave up a lot of big drives in the second half. There are things to work on. You got the win, though. You're leading the division. And here, like after 6 weeks, at the beginning of the year, if you told Packer fans after 6 weeks you'd be leading the division, probably would sign up for it, right? End of the conversation, be like, yep, let's sign up for it, assuming that Jordan Love is playing football and not injured. So that's here's Burn says, guys, the Bengals are just a bad team, but okay. They are. That's why Packers fans wanted to win by a lot more. They still, if you watch that game, they were moving up and down the field pretty easily. The defense is where you're going, what was happening there in the second half? But we just have to keep moving forward. like this is where we are now. I just wanted to check real quick, Ziggy, because you piqued my interest, and then I actually took you off of the topic. It would be amazing if the Bills didn't win the AFC East. Like that really would be amazing. And right now, so I just want to see, they're 4-1. The Patriots are 4-2.
Hold up the AFC East odds. They're at -400. The Patriots are at +300. But I wonder if this isn't being a little aggressive.
So let's assume that the Bills win in Atlanta tomorrow night, okay? That puts them one game up on New England. I'm just going to read out the schedules, okay? And we don't need to get into dissecting them, but I just want to read them out. And we'll just say how many like really tough games each team has, okay? Bills go to Carolina. They host the Chiefs. There's one. They go to Miami. They host the Bucks. There's another tough game. Go to Houston. You think that's tough or no?
We'll see. It could be.
At Pittsburgh, let's say one of those two, at Pittsburgh or at Houston, is going to be
those
tough.
Combined to one tough game. Can we say that? Because like they're both sort of hard.
I think that's fair. You got the Bengals at home. No, you go to New England. Let's just say let's nullify both of those. At Cleveland, no. You host the Eagles. Yes, you host the Jets. So Buffalo's got 4 games right now that we're looking at and saying that could be a loss on the schedule. The Patriots now,
Who by the way, the Patriots have the easiest remaining rest of schedule.
So the Patriots they go to Tennessee, they host Cleveland, they host Atlanta, go to Tampa, there's one. They host the Jets, they go to Cincinnati, they host the Giants, host the Bills, at Baltimore, there's two, assuming Lamar plays, at the Jets, host the Dolphins. Now, I know that the Patriots are a team too. They can lose any of these games. I think New England's like an average team. And you saw today that like the Saints and them had a pretty good football game. But that's a really light schedule, man. Like it's in
As I said,
play.
it's the easiest remaining schedule. If you, as you said, let's take out the Bills Patriots game. The Patriots' only game against a team with a record against a team that currently has more than one win is the Bucs. Other than that, every remaining game on the Patriots schedule, the team has one win or fewer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a shocking remaining schedule 6 weeks into the season.
Well, that's why their win total was 9.5 coming into the season, and people who didn't look at the schedule were seeing that and saying, "What's going on here?" And you hate to play the schedule game as often as we do, but I mean, I love doing it personally.
And the Patriots are 4-2. This was justified.
And when Drake May is playing better each week, that's where if you root for New England, you're going, okay, our young guy is turning into a star before our eyes, and he's got the lightest schedule in football to do it.
Yeah, week 1, which was one of Drake May's and the offense's weakest performances, you lost to the Raiders at home. I guarantee you, if the Raiders go to New England next week, the Patriots beat them.
Totally.
And then there was that crazy Aaron Rodgers game.
Well, and it wasn't even crazy Rodgers game.
It was five turnovers.
It was ridiculous. Like the Patriots could easily be undefeated right now. They probably should be undefeated.
And then you consider if they beat Buffalo, they will have that tiebreaker. Like the Patriots, this feels very strange to say, but they have not only do they control their own destiny winning the AFC East, they have a very straightforward schedule. If they beat all of the bottom 5 teams in the NFL they play and beat Buffalo at home, that's it. The division's theirs.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's
they
crazy.
have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games against the bottom 5 teams in the NFL.
If we end the season,
if you include the Giants,
it's amazing that we could end the year where the division winners are the Patriots, the Steelers, the Colts, and then, I mean, could it be Denver? Could it? I mean, I think it'll be the Chiefs if I had to bet money on it right now. But still, it probably won't happen. We'll probably get Buffalo, but the Steelers hosting a playoff game, the Patriots hosting one, the Colts. We'll get some weird lines opening weekend. If you have Lamar Jackson and the Ravens going into like Indianapolis, for example, that line, Baltimore might be favored in that game.
No, I mean, there's no doubt. It's the NFC. I think the division winners will be about who we expected. The West we knew was a wild card, and any of those 4-2 teams could win. The East, it's going to be the Eagles. The North, it'll be the Packers or the Lions. The South, it'll be the Bucks. In the AFC, there is no division where I am currently confident that the preseason favorite will win the division.
No, you have no idea.
Funny enough, the preseason favorite I'm most confident in is probably Kansas City.
Yeah, me too. I think
despite
Kansas
the fact
City,
that the Chiefs are not in the lead in their division.
No, but they mentioned this tonight on the broadcast, and I actually agree with it. They were saying that the Kansas City people feel better about where this team is at, despite the record, than the confidence level they had in last year's team that was 5-6-0 and winning all those fluky games. And I think they're right. I think especially when Rice gets, I can't wait to see Rashee Rice get back in there. My pick for a team that is really going to turn it on is Kansas City. And I know people don't want to hear that, but we talked about what team could possibly really, really turn it on, become one of those teams this year. I would guess it's Kansas City if I had to pick one. Them and Buffalo, as you said, would be the other one.
By the way, shout out. I was totally crapping on your prediction that Hollywood Brown will be a relevant player this game.
Oh, yeah.
And he scores 2 touchdowns. I said they don't get anything going if Xavier Worthy doesn't do anything. Xavier Worthy had 2 catches for 20 yards and a good important touchdown. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
Kelce had a big night too.
But
Kelce
like
was
it
really
was
good.
Kelce, Juju, and Hollywood Brown that got it done. Can you imagine when like Rashee Rice comes back here?
Rasheed Rice is the best one of that group.
By a
That's what I'm
country
thinking.
mile, I think.
So let's wrap it with this because I see a lot of people in the chat are talking about this here. Real quick, awards, Ziggy, and this doesn't have to be like in line with what the odds are. What for you personally? Who would you give MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Coach of the Year right now?
Right now, we're not projecting the
Right
rest of
now,
the
we're not
season.
projecting through 6 weeks.
Okay, let me think for a second.
Yeah,
What are the 3 awards you want me to give?
MVP, Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Coach of the Year.
Coach of the year has got to go to Shane Steichen out in Indianapolis.
I'll tell you right now, that's where my mind went as well. I know a lot of people are talking about Shanahan.
And don't get me wrong, what Shanahan has done is like it's been pretty impressive, the injuries he's overcome. Some of this is my preseason bias, I will give that. But like the Colts are 5-1. And this is not, I mean, they haven't played great teams, but this isn't like a mega fraudulent 5-1. They've dominated terrible teams and they beat the Broncos, who are a good team. The loss to the Rams was fluky. They beat the Cardinals, who are not terrible.
You know what I don't, another one I don't hate as an option is Mike McDonald has been really good with the Seattle as well. Seattle at 4-2 right now. Their defense has been great, and that's a lot of that's driven by McDonald. So
Yeah,
I'm with you on Steichen.
Yeah,
I'm with you on Steichen. Okay, so we match on Steichen, and I think these two are actually pretty straightforward here.
So offensive rookie of the year,
come on,
Jackson Dart.
Really?
It's a quarterback award, Paul. No, I mean at this point, it's clearly Emeka Egbuka.
Do you think Dart will win it?
I think whether or not Dart will win it 100% depends on whether or not he gets injured.
Well, let's assume he doesn't.
If he continue, I think he will. So if you're asking about my projection, I don't think he's going to play enough games in order to win it. But if he just plays enough games, I think he will perform well enough to win the award.
That seems like it's turning into a 2-horse race between Egbuka and Dart. I know that some Packer fans wanted Golden in there. Tyler Warren has been awesome. That's a great shout out. I don't think he'll be in the real running.
He hasn't had the raw production that Egbuka has, and he doesn't get the benefit of being a quarterback.
Yes, I'm trying to think. Is there anyone else that we're forgetting? What other receivers were up there? Is that? I mean, I know there's Genty and Hampton's hurt now. I mean, Genty obviously could get back into the race if he goes off. RJ Harvey's done nothing really. I'm trying to think if there's any other guys. Loveland hasn't played.
Yeah, I mean, Travis Hunter hasn't gotten it. Ted McMillan had 2 touchdowns today, which I guess was nice.
Yeah, Ted's been
also,
all right.
Keep an eye on Cam Scatterbo.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Scatterbo.
I think that's much more of a flash in the pan performance. Like the Eagles game was good, and the Chargers game he had a few touchdowns, but I'm not.
Donovan Jackson. And Merle says Donovan Jackson.
Oh, I love Merle so much, man.
Judkins has been really good.
He had a bad game.
He had a bad game today, but he's been really good.
It's a 2-horse race between Egbuka and Dart, and I think it 100% comes down to if Dart stays healthy.
Yeah, and then MVP, it's got to be Baker, right? Right now.
It's between him and Josh Allen. Josh Allen has played well on a good team that still doesn't have a lot around him on offense.
Let's see.
I'd probably go Baker too, but
any chance? Look, I understand that record matters. Dak has been amazing. Dak has been great this year. Like record matters, and that's why Baker's 5-1 now. I know some people like Daniel Jones as an MVP option. I don't think that Daniel Jones is in that group.
And I will say it's not like, I mean, the loss to the Panthers was brutal, but that loss was
Oh,
0%
it's
on
not on
Dak
Dak.
Prescott.
They're scoring 30 points a
No,
game.
indeed. And it's like if they had won that game, the Cowboys record is not, this is not a 0-5 team, right? This is not a 0-6 team. It's not a 1-5 team. That tie was unfortunate. But like, no, Dak's played fine. He's played good football.
I would give it to Baker right now. 10 interceptions, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's also has the quote unquote like MVP plays, right? The
He's
scrambles.
overcome injuries to his skill position
Yeah.
players. I totally get it.
Yeah, late game
I will just
comebacks. Go ahead, sorry.
I will just point out that Josh Allen is throwing to Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and Josh Palmer.
No, he's been great too, and maybe that's a little recency bias of the loss, in people's minds. And people like Baker. That's another thing. Baker's just a fun guy to root for.
Oh, I mean, I would rather Baker win it than Josh Allen. There's no question.
But yeah, here's another one. Some people are talking about Daniel Jones in there.
No,
I think that what Daniel Jones is doing has been great this year. Jonathan Taylor has also been like Jonathan Taylor has been amazing. But I think Baker's carrying that team more. I think Josh obviously carries the Bills more. And you could really make an argument for Dak. You really could. He won't be in the conversation because the Cowboys won't be good enough. But he's been on fire, especially the last 3 weeks.
I will just say as the season goes on, keep an eye on Jordan Love MVP case. He is certainly not out of the
You
running.
need to elaborate.
I mean, here's what it is I think Jordan Love is playing good football. The Packers are currently first in the NFC North. If he continues to play strong football, and in particular, if like Golden connection developing and Watson coming back means that they rely a little bit more on some of those huge deep plays that in the second half of the 2023 season really defined how things were going. I'm not saying I'd award it to him now, but he has not played disqualifying football up until this point. He's not that far from the guys we're listing. And if the Packers go on a run, and you will surely admit from what we've seen, they are capable of going on a run.
Yes, absolutely.
Like Jordan Love is playing strong football. It is not quite MVP level, but this could be the first third of an MVP season. His passer rating has been 100 or better in 4 of his past 5 games. He's completing over 70% of his passes. He's making plays that are making differences in their games, right? Like people aren't happy about the Cowboys game because it was a tie, but he threw for 340 yards and 3 touchdowns. If he plays even slightly worse, that's a loss.
Yeah, and he's a game.
And if LaFleur manages the clock slightly better, he gets a chance to win the game for his team. So keep an eye on that.
No, it's a good point. And he's a game behind too. So when you're looking at touchdown stats right now, you got to factor in another game.
Yeah, if you make that like 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns, starts to look a lot better.
Well,
right?
That would be a really good. I mean, that would be
I mean,
500-yard
game.
game.
2 games about that good this year.
500 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Hasn't he thrown for 1,300 yards up until this point this season?
I have him at 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Oh, that's why.
If Jordan Love comes out next week and throws for 500 yards and 4 touchdowns, he's gonna be atop a lot of MVP ballots.
Yeah, you know what? No, he's thrown for 1,259 this season. I don't.
Oh, has he? Did I?
That's not including the Bengals game today.
Did it not update? Okay. My bad. If that's the case.
So we're talking 250 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Okay, that makes way more sense. Yeah, and just the way that the same way it works with college football and people reacting to the rankings and the NFL power rankings. Think about the MVP race last season, or I think was it 2 years ago? Yeah, 2 years ago is the one that really jumps out to me when it was kind of a murky award, and yeah, Tua was in it, Lamar was in it, Purdy was in it, and Lamar was clearly the MVP and he had the best season. But if you remember, in week like 14 and 13, when the Ravens went in and beat up on San Francisco, I think it was Christmas, right? The Ravens went into San Francisco and destroyed them.
By the way, you say Lamar is clearly the MVP that year. That was one of the most fraudulent MVPs I've ever seen.
Well, there we go. But that 49er Raven game, it was like people were changing the MVP by week. And that's the one, if they win that game, Purdy might be MVP.
Which is so stupid.
It is really dumb, and that's where your Jordan Love point actually for a lot of these guys. Look, if the Patriots have 13 wins, Drake May could be MVP. Like we'll see what happens. Please a reminder to everybody to like, comment, and to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to what are we trying to get to now? 25?
25. We're above 24 now.
Yeah, we're trying to get 25,000 subscribers. So if you've been enjoying the content, please give us a subscription. We appreciate everybody in the chat. We're gonna wrap it up.
Our goal is to get to before 25,000, well before Toyotathon, because Toyotathon Jordan Love's gonna take us to 30 plus.
Well, we're gonna wrap things up for now. That's a great way to end it, Ziggy. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Fun week 6. We'll be back tomorrow night reacting to the Commanders and the Bears game. Ziggy, thanks for staying up, and we'll see you guys soon. Okay, end it there.